Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 144 of the Nope Coach podcast. Why don't we finish what we start? I'm your host, Suzanne Kohlberg, and today's topic is a result of a question that I received, a message, and basically the crux of it is why don't we finish what we start? So the person had described how she'd tried again and again and she'd never finished it. She said, I don't want to do the exercise. I don't want to do the meal plan. I don't want to get out of bed. There's always this sense of procrastination. I start, but I never finish. And I was like, let me do a podcast on this because I'm sure this is a familiar story to many of us. We want to make some form of change. For a lot of my listeners and the people I work with, common themes are weight loss. They want to change their weight, their body. Make money. I want to start a business. I want to become an entrepreneur. I want to do something, write a book, do a creative project. There's something that we want to change about our lives. And what we tend to do is go to an expert for a strategy. So we'll use weight loss for this example because this is what the client's goal is that sent me this question. And so say for many of us, you want to lose weight. So what do? You find a diet guru. You find a person who's going to give you a meal plan, an exercise plan, a sleep plan. You're left to your own devices. You obviously have no clue. So I'm going to go to an expert. This is where I'm going to divert and say that by going to the expert, this is what's actually setting you up to fail. This is why you don't finish, because you need to be in charge of your life, your process. And you could be like, well, Suzanne, this is terrible. I am in charge. And look, this is where I am. I'm fat. I can't sleep. I'm unfit. Like I need to make these changes. How many times have you tried a diet? Have you found a program or a guru or a person who's told you what to do? And then you can argue with me and say, well, I've had some success. I lost 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 50, 100 kilos, pounds, whatever. But the thing is, the thing that gave you initial success is the very thing that was the reason you couldn't finish. It's because it involved you following a plan that was set by someone else. And by doing that, you are stripped of your autonomy. It's setting you up to rebel. Yes, people benefit from guidance. Yes, people benefit from having a person in their corner to work with them, but not in telling them what to do. In all the time that I've coached, whether it be weight loss, business, or whatever, I've never given anybody a plan or a blueprint or a formula. And this is why. Because in the beginning, when you're like, I can't stand myself any longer, something needs to change, someone needs to fix me, you are praising all the person who's given you the key to the universe. You're like, this is going to be the thing. And then you follow it and you start to lose weight or you start to make money and you're like, oh my gosh, yes, they have the answer. They have the keys to success. But the thing is, there comes a point where you no longer want to be controlled. You don't want to be told what to do. You rebel. You want to reclaim your sense of autonomy. And in the moment that you do that, although you're berating yourself for being a fat, lazy fuck who can't keep it together, that's not a judgment. That's what I used to call myself. Part of you is that, oh, I never finish anything. But the other part of you is like, oh, hallelujah. I'm actually following my own stuff again. No one's controlling me. I'm not being, I get my autonomy back. So the thing is, an effective strategy for change, in this example, we are talking about, weight loss. It needs to be that you will succeed in following it, not just in ideal circumstances. If you get so tired and sick of yourself, like I'm so heavy, I'm so uncomfortable, I'm so in pain, I need someone to tell me what to do. The ideal circumstances, which for most people I work with is 2 weeks, sometimes longer, sometimes less, you can follow that plan for the ideal set of circumstances. But the second something happens that's unexpected, that wasn't part of the plan, that is a time of stress or worry or whatever, the plan falls over. Can't follow this for shit. Effective strategies for change enable you to succeed not only when circumstances are ideal, but in the worst circumstances, when it's stinking hot, when You know, you got stuck in traffic, where you've dinged your car, where, you know, your food, you open the fridge and the food you plan to eat has gone rotten, when it's late night and you've got the munchies. Because the thing is, transformation, true transformation, change, doesn't come from what you do when you're motivated. It comes from what you do when you can't be fucked. And more often than not, we follow the guru, the diet, the plan, the program when we're feeling motivated, when circumstances are ideal, when everything's in alignment, and then something happens and the wheels fall off, and then we blame ourselves because we can't finish anything. When the truth is, the thing has set us up to fail because we have been enslaved to somebody else's way of doing things. So the thing is, if you're ever feeling like, I just don't want to do this, it's not the right thing for you. If you are only going to do it for 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 10 weeks, then you're only going to have results for 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 10 weeks. There's things that you need to put in place are lifelong changes. They're going to be slow. They're going to be gradual. Very rarely does somebody have success from doing a complete 180. Instead, this is where I am right now. This is where I desire to be. What are the small steps I can take and start introducing that? This is what we do in my program, Why Wait? Pardon me. I call them the pennies. The reason they, like, have you heard the story? I've done a whole episode on this, but recap. A penny doubled every day for 30 days. Do you know how much that ends up being? It's like 5 million. If you don't believe me, Google it. Have a look through. And the thing is, 5 cents, like 1 cent, 2 cents, 4 cents, 8 cents, doesn't even sound very sexy. And it's not till like day 26 where it starts getting interesting. The small changes that you make. So say, for example, you currently slam an entire family block of chocolate a day. No judgment. I used to eat 2. Your change is probably going to be traditionally, I'm going to have no chocolate. And that lasts for a couple of days or a couple of weeks till you just can't stand yourself anymore and you're eating all the chocolate. And then you go to 2 family blocks of chocolate a day. If instead you're like, I'm going to eat this entire family block bar 1 row and do that for a couple of days or a week, and then this entire family block of chocolate bar 2 rows, you reduce it down consistently and persistently. Your penny is, I'm going to drop 1 piece of chocolate per day or something like that. It will take longer, yes, but it is sustainable. It's an effective strategy because something you could do even in the worst of circumstances. If I currently eat an entire block of chocolate a day and I tell myself no chocolate ever, and then tomorrow my pet dies and I'm really sad, then I'm going to go and eat chocolate. Whereas if I'm like, I'm going to eat 1 less piece each day and tomorrow my pet dies, I can still have some chocolate, just not as much. The reason, the 2 things I believe we need for us to be able to finish what we start, first of all, is autonomy. So we need to create the change that we seek, not outsourcing it to somebody else to tell us exactly what to do. Yes, we can get guidance from that. Yes, you can work with a coach. I am a coach. Work with the coach who says, oh, what about this? Or give you some suggestions and some input, but not someone who tells you what to do. You must eat 1,200 calories, no more. You must exercise and burn 500 calories, no more. That is stripping you of your autonomy. So the first thing, effective change is having autonomy. And the second thing is accountability, the support, the person to check in with. And I would recommend paying for that, like hiring that, because the thing is, we can often go, oh, just get a friend. You get a group of friends together and go, let's make some changes, or I'm going to ask my partner. First off, that's a lot of pressure to put on your partner, because when your pet's died and you want to slam a block of chocolate and they're like, no, you can't have this, you said, or whatever, then I remember my husband, like there was one time I did this diet called Body Trim. I believe it's no longer as severe as it used to be. But in the days when I did it, Body Trim, for the first 3 days, you had protein only. So there was no carbs, no fruit, no vegetables. Like you literally just ate meat. I don't know if they had like a vegan or a vegetarian version. Anyway, I digress. By the 3rd day, my husband was literally throwing bread at me going, for crying out loud, can you please just eat something? I don't want to live with you. And that was so much pressure to put onto him. Whereas if you hire someone, and it's not like so that they force you, or be like, that's the other thing. People go, oh, if I could just afford to hire somebody to follow me around and slap Tim Tams out of my hands. That wouldn't work either. You know why? As soon as you had a hard moment, you just fire that bitch. And then you blame them for not doing their job, even though you fired them. What I mean by accountability is a person that can be the sounding board, a person who can lovingly check in, a person like at the moment, I'm currently running a program called the Mighty 90. We are on day 80 of 90 days to change. And it's a daily check-in. And there's a number of them in the group who are up to day 80. Not me. I'm the facilitator and I fell off. So I'm on day 19. But I digress. But the accountability, and so many people in that group have said to me, if not for your daily posts in here, if not for the check-in, if not for the voice notes, if not for this, I wouldn't have stuck this through. I wouldn't have seen this through. But the advantage of that is they're in a paid community. Like they've become friends and got to know each other, yes, but they're not putting that pressure on their friends or their loved ones in their life. This is the group that we go to get shit done. In all the programs that I teach, Why Wait, Mighty 90, one-to-one coaching, it's about taking action that the person wants to take. And when it comes to marketing my program, and I work with, a marketing coach or whatever, they want me to give them specifics. Like, what is the specific thing that people are going to work on? I can't tell them because that is 100% against what I stand for. I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do because you will not do it in the long term and you won't get the transformation in the long term. What I do teach and what I do work with people to do is to identify what it is they actually want and how we can make the pennies the smallest possible steps towards that change. So, yeah, we don't finish what we start because we set ourselves up to fail by absolving ourselves of responsibility and finding someone else's blueprint formula to follow. And then the problem with that is that only works in the best of circumstances. And as soon as life has a wobble or we hit a pothole or whatever, we drop it completely. So the way we finish what we start is by getting really clear on first where we are now, where we want to go, and making the steps so small that we look at them and go, I'm not even going to tell anybody I'm doing this because it's embarrassing. And then allowing the compound interest of those steps to add up over time. I hope this has been helpful. If there's any questions at all, please feel free. Go over to my website, suzannekohlberg.com, click on the contact page and send me through a message because I'm happy to do a follow-up, a part 2, a deeper dive into this on future episodes. And also while you're there, suzannekohlberg.com, if you click on my newsletter, then you can get my weekly emails. I'd love to visit your inbox once a week or so. Thank you for listening. Hope to catch you on the next one. Bye for now.